going on, guys? It is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025, and I broke one of my trading rules. So, very disappointed in myself, very disappointing day. However, it makes sense. Everything lined up to today happening, and I'm going to explain how it happened, why it happened, and how you can actually avoid like these issues from happening in your own trading. The goal for this channel is to show you how somebody can grow a small account and really just, stop these gurus from seeming like, and really just, and really just, and really just emphasize that trading is not and really just emphasize that you can make trading happen even on a small account as a beginner or as somebody who's on their first year. Um, I'm going to make that happen. I'm already, 9 months into my journey. You could watch my previous videos. I'm turning that corner now. However, little bits and pieces of that, unprofitable, those unprofitable habits still come up every once in a while. So I'm gonna show you exactly what happened, show you how to avoid it, and see you in a second. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna review this trade just like we reviewed all the other trades on the 5 minute time frame. That way you guys can get a feel for what was happening and also not, be looking at 1 minute candles. So once again, like I mentioned multiple times, my strategy is to short below pivot lows and take calls above pivot highs, right? So I am looking for shorts below this level. Um, However, this is a very key level of support here. If you look, we have bounced off of these lows on the 14th, and then we also did a look below and fail from way earlier on the 7th. And then we also, we're just basically making slight lower lows in this 24,600 to 24,800 range. And I'm not really looking to take shorts below this level unless we get a clear indication below this level. Once again, I trade indication, correction, continuation. Um, However, I'm going to show you kind of how I ended up messing that up today. So, let's go ahead and let's go to the top, the 5 minute candles here. So as you can see, we get a clear, very nice indication below that level. Um, by the time we hit 11 o'clock, we are clearly, making new lows. We end up making another low, and then we push back up into that level at 1125. So we pushed back up into 24,650 area by 1125. And now I'm looking at the market, possibly thinking about, depending on how the market reacts at this level. Once again, this is a strong area of buyers at this level, meaning anything below this level, we are looking for shorts. However, one of the key rules that I set for myself and what you guys should set for yourself if you're trading this strategy is do not take do not take a reversal, right? So the way that I would want this to look is I would want this to break up into this level, right? So this is a full correction because we're back into the level. And then eventually, in an ideal scenario, what you would want to see is a breakdown back below this level, right? So we're into the range, right? We want to see price into this range, and then we want to see price break back below this level, below these pivot lows. That way we can target this this pivot low here at 24,389. So basically, that would be momentum in my favor. I always want momentum to be in my favor. I'm a momentum trader. I am not taking reversal setups, right? I do not want to take reversal setups. However, if you guys look here, like I went over yesterday, we had multiple reversal setups that played out, right? Multiple reversal setups that played out. So this had clouded my judgment, right? This had clouded my judgment and made me feel like I need to take this trade and almost gave me FOMO, right? So as we see, we start reversing here. Boom, we start reversing here. I take a short entry right here on the break of this level. I'm thinking, I am, actually trading within my system, even though obviously, like I said, I'm not looking for short. So I was clouded. I was definitely clouded on this entry. So I take it here. I'm in a good amount of profit. I end up being around here. I am up maybe $100 down at the lowest point. I'm up around $200 down here looking for a $400 target at lows, and we bounce. We bounce at that level. Let me go to the 1 minute chart here. We start bouncing. We start picking up momentum to the upside. I'm not really too worried about it because once again, it's win or lose, right? Like I want to see a rejection, like basically a break and retest of this level. Unfortunately, we end up pushing past my entry and boom, almost stopped out. A few more candles and I'm out. So right there, I get stopped out. At this point in time, obviously, I'm not, crashing out or anything like that. But I am acknowledging the fact that I took a trade that was out of my system. And basically, this is going to ground me, right? So I can show you guys, I could show you guys my TradeZella account. I can show you guys my TradeZella account kind of going over this last 2 days. On top of that, obviously I took an L yesterday that was within my system. Very good trade. Just ended up wicking me out, which is not a problem. But today, because of yesterday's, L, it actually ended up clouding my judgment a little bit more to kind of push me over the edge of ended up taking a subpar trade that did not end up working out. So this is something that you guys should, basically just implement into your own trading. Do not take trades based off of yesterday's price action. Do not take trades based off of a previous day's price action. Always stick to your system. It doesn't matter if the market is teasing you and, it's having trades that typically you don't like to trade. They end up, just smacking over and over and over again right in front of your face. So it ends up, tempting you to take that trade even though it's not within your system. And this is going to be the result of that every single time. Even if I would have won this trade, this would have been very bad for my psychology because what would have ended up happening is I'm reinforcing bad habits. I'm going to end up taking more reversal setups than I'm supposed to in the future. And the next thing you know, I am getting stopped out and I'm not understanding what's going on. It's because I'm not trading within the system that I created and I'm not trading that in an environment that's conducive to my strategy's success. So basically the lesson of the day is just do not take trades that are out of your system no matter how good they look, because realistically this setup looked almost identical to this setup from yesterday that ended up going to low of day and eventually breaking. It also looked similar to this setup from yesterday that ended up hitting low of day as well, right? So taking the setups from yesterday and using that to trade today's price action is never going to be, a good idea. If we would have if we would have broke into this level, did a liquidity sweep, maybe even broke highs and then came back into this level with momentum to the downside and then we broke below this level, that would have been an A plus setup within my system. But I decided to take a reversal instead. So, with that being said, guys, you know, take puts or shorts below pivot lows, take calls above pivot highs, but you have to make sure that you're trading within momentum. The momentum needs to be in your favor. Do not take reversal setups. It will make this trading strategy a lot less profitable and a lot less probable. Um, if you guys have any questions or you want to ask or you want to, go over a few of your trades, definitely just book a call. The link is in the description below. I will talk to y'all later. Peace out.